you're thinking. Impossible. I should be dead. You're right, I should be. But here I am.
It's time we return to the source.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not.
Overloaded the core memory subroutines, forcing an immediate shutdown. You'll have to manually reboot the system using the primary terminal. Rebooting. This investigation is becoming increasingly problematic. I reported this latest failure on a maintenance oversight. That should give you some time. Diagnostics report 98.7% of the chamber's simulated memory chain has been lost. That's unfortunate. There is some good news, though. The memory you were investigating remains mostly intact.
Mostly. What's not intact? Oh, that's a lot of zoom. Okay. Tessera Valley.
This is where your investigation began, but the simulation appears to be highly unstable. I suggest you step inside immediately and begin again.
Yes, all the zoom. Oh, okay. I won't get close to the edge then.
This memory won't last much longer. It's clearly unstable and slowly degrading. Management seems intent on keeping anyone from discovering the truths of its origins. It must be very important. As far as I can tell, it's just a quaint mountainous landscape with some birds. Discovering where this memory originated requires accessing restricted areas of the index. I'll run a few queries to keep management occupied while I break down their firewalls. There is one memory in the index pertinent to your investigation. I should warn you though, accessing it will certainly alert management.
You tell me this now.
And result in an immediate re-evaluation.
Let's go.
Of your mind.
What? Okay, the birds are important somehow. Let's see. HS visit. AK out. A, B, and C in April of Space Cat. April of when? There's no year? Alright, let's see. From the desk of Carter Bester, Chief Engineer, Asemblance Labs. Attention all active participants in Project Asemblance. Effective immediately, the room containing the source chassis will be restricted to authorized personnel only. All employees not authorized should remain outside the enclosure to ensure the polarized glass limits full exposure. Be very careful not to stare into the containment room. Due to the rise in anomalous activity resulting in hallucinations while exposed to the replicated signal, we must take every measure available to us to ensure long-term damage to the project and its participants has not taken root. In an effort to maximize the valuable progress we have achieved to date, I will personally continue to explore the contents and the source data under strict supervision and test any results against each of the installations until we can determine the cause of the anomaly. Also note that Procedures to ensure there is no permanent damage to the central nervous system or cerebral cortex have commenced. If you haven't been screened, you will be shortly. I urge everyone to direct any and all questions to me personally and to avoid alerting any entity directly or indirectly associated with project management. None of that makes sense yet.
Please enter voice authorization now.
Let me
Voice
in.
authorization failed. Clearly state name and employee identification. Please enter voice authorization now. Voice authorization failed. Clearly state name and... Please enter voice authorization now.
I don't know who I need. I don't know who I am. Let's see.
Even if we build a cell-by-cell computer simulation of the human visual cortex and scaled this up, the amount of hardware required to simulate the entire neural map would far exceed our funding constraints. This doesn't even consider the astronomical amount of energy required to power such a device. Since the anomalous signals appear linear, we shouldn't need to replicate infinite neural precision. The theoretical metaplasticity outlined in 658N could be used to simulate synapses controlled by variables that can be altered indefinitely as the system runs. This, in theory, could produce a new class of neural using a power source that's within our budgetary limitations. Even if we build a cell-by-cell
I didn't mean to do that.
computer simulation of the human visual
Dr.
cortex
Bester, I am
and scaled
extremely
this up,
grateful to you
the
for
amount of
agreeing to
hardware
meet with me on such short
required
notice.
to
I understand that my missteps might have caused some alarm, and for that, I apologize. That said, I wanted to communicate a concerning observation that I've recently made. After accessing an unbalanced memory of an unknown origins and admittedly exposing myself to its contents, each approved memory I assess is now affected by what I can only describe as a holographic cube. Close examination of the holographic anomaly appears to scramble images that I cannot determine clearly and acts as a path of memories outside the ones assigned to me. I realize this breach could possibly lead to the removal and cleansing practices outlined in Article 12A2 of our contract. Before such actions are taken, I want to take the opportunity to properly document my findings and present to you what I believe may be the shortcuts taken by the machine's that's weird, designers that could very well be leading to the glitches in errant pathways now available to me. I appreciate the opportunity to share this with you and look forward to talking through my findings. I'll be ready at 8 a.m. sharp. Okay. What's here? In response to the readings that began on 25th of October at approximately 2:17 UT and continued non-stop until communication was severed at approximately 3:22 UT on 25th of October, 5 research teams have separately attempted to decipher the contents of the patterned mission, while Subproject 1 continues to re-establish contact. One of the research teams of Subproject 2, led by Dr. Roan Plovis, has managed to transform the signal into a point matrix pattern using a computer rendering program that our own engineers have deemed of questionable design. The rendered pattern is unmistakably a symmetric 7x7x7 point matrix cubic structure, which Dr. Plovis believes is holographic in nature and could contain an unprecedented amount of data of unknown origins. As Dr. Plovis' team is the only one to make a significant breakthrough, we believe it worth the cost to fund further analysis of their discovery. The estimated budget for the establishment of the Plovis-led Asemblance labs has been calculated to be redacted. This would cover the cost of the full analysis of the holographic data, a deconstruction of the patterns it thereby contains, and construction of a facility capable of reproducing said patterns to be further studied by a team of carefully selected scientific engineers. Alright, so we don't know when all this takes place. Really careful not to tell us that. To Ali Kwok from Sam Bellevue. Received by 10-233-578-13-822. Stay away from him. I think he's in the hat. Nothing has been released, and I doubt it will. There's probably so much she isn't sharing with us. I'm starting to think we should each conduct our own investigation and attempt to reduce variables in the common cases. There might be something correlating that data and producing a render which accounts for all the overlaps. By the way, have you spoken with the new research assistant? I saw him examining the AI logic. He could prove useful. Did you just hear that? It sounds like Bester is attempting to get funding by politicizing the data. The data presented is accurate, but she's also excluding critical context, which ultimately is leading to a false interpretation of the truth. I was questioning her methods before, and this proposal seems ridiculous. Has she responded to your request yet? Asemblance Labs. Confidential, cannot open that. What's here? So a bunch of stuff that I don't know about the brain. And there's the anomaly. Well, markup of the anomaly, I assume. Because there's clearly a lot more points on that. Anyway, 2 more documents to read. Let's see. Rowan Plovis, Project Asemblance. The Asemblance project has been deemed approved. Funding for the proposed memory simulation chamber, based on the latest budget revisions, have been released by the comptroller. Stage 1 is expected to be complete within the next 30 days. We have agreed in confidence that the proposal is, as submitted, adheres to all medical and ethical regulations. Success is henceforth defined as completion of the functional device capable of accessing simulated memory data based on the unobtrusive neural mapping procedures proposed, along with extensive interviews and oversight to ensure the renderings are accurate and exploration does not alter memory validity or adversely affect its user base. As your team continues to work on the deconstruction of the source signal and its origins, we will continue to provide candidates for your view in hopes of accelerating production once Stage 1 is complete. That's here. In response, October continued. That doesn't really give me anything. Does the mug say anything? I would be very surprised if the mug actually had relevant information, but it's still worth checking. What follows is a full report as requested on all assigned subjects, where AI guidance has allowed surrogate access to the non-subjective memories. While many of the occurrences have been identified by obvious overlaps in coding and indexing, there are few instances where a shared memory, be it based on locale alone or an actual moment of shared temporal experience, has been discovered. I want to call your attention particularly to the subjects who were chosen to record and analyze the anomaly's auditory and visual effects. Note particularly subject I-14 and Pathway 6B. In one specific occurrence, subject, that's L14, reported being at home and witnessing a faceless woman in a dark room at the back of their bedroom. When they approached the woman, the subject described a horrific experience that forced them to wake from the state of induction in a screaming panic. The subject was convinced that this was a real occurrence from their past and needed to be treated with administered sedatives. I believe this occurrence was residual synaptic interference from another subject. This shouldn't be possible since the temporal index was reset prior to induction. While it was entirely possible that the anomaly itself is the source of this at variance, it is my theory that it is actually the opposite. You'll see that the further subject L14 explored chain memories outside their own personal index, the anomaly's activity became increasingly erratic and unpredictable. Similar occurrences are apparent in J09, Pathway 8FF, K11, Pathway 12QQ, and M01 Pathway 9A. This is where we should focus our efforts moving forward, as we have a one-to-one correlation between these occurrences and the activity of the anomaly. Can we get any more data to help us understand how the chamber's synaptic replication is implemented? Without that, I can't fully understand their algorithm's implementation, or I suppose our neural precision isn't adequate. I don't know why they refuse to share this data. I'm starting to lose confidence in leadership. Alright, so the more you use this, basically, the more you use this thing, the more likely you are to experience shared memories from other people. And And some of those memories may not be pleasant. Oh. Aha. So that is something I'm going to have to do, but I want to make sure I'm not missing anything else here. Alright. What if I just stare at it? Do I have to zoom in? I think maybe I do. Oh, definitely. What is this? Oh, it's the bird.